YouTube. So this video today, bit of a different one for you. I want to have a chat with you about commercial work and how I go about looking for it. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it isn't, but at the same time I don't think there's any such wrong way of doing it. This way I find is easy, free, and it doesn't take too much time. Yes, you use a little bit of diesel, but in general, you're not wasting anybody's time really. It's nice and straightforward. I think commercial work quite often is seen as almost the holy grail of gardening work. Do I think it is? It's got its pros and cons, definitely. I think the payments for me, I've never really had problems receiving payments. It's not like you wait months and months. Often it's within a week, to be fair, so I have been very lucky. But I'll be honest with you, my commercial work that I do, I look after a couple of car parks, I've looked after cafes in the past, and commercial buildings like warehouses and stuff. But I'll be honest with you, the majority of them, it's the equivalent still of working for somebody, as in working for like a member of the public almost, or like a Joe Bloggs sort of person, or a homeowner. You report to somebody. And as I said, I've never had the whole misstatement rams and all that tendering. Never had that. So is it proper air quotes commercially work? Who knows? But the commercial work that I've taken on, I have enjoyed, to be fair. And my sort of approach is I try and give it as close to a residential finish as I can within reason, but ultimately I find sometimes you're better off sticking to what the customer asks for. So if the customer says, I want the verge trimming, then the verge gets trimmed. You're doing what they say, so it's a cut and drop almost. Obviously you try your best to make it look better, but if people ask for that, that's what they tend to get, sort of. I find sometimes with it being purely for a reason, you try and say, we can go about getting it done this way. Well, how about if I trim and rake it off? Obviously that's increasing the bill and increasing the time. Not by much, admittedly, but quite often maintenance is literally purely just to keep it presentable. It's not like it's a homeowner. That's what I've found with the extent of my commercial work. It's purely to keep it sort of down and keep it tidy. But then again, I've got commercial properties that it's, for them, it's a garden in a way. I look after a warehouse building, and I look after the car park and the front garden. And when I went to it, you could tell it had been planted up with some roses, and there's a couple of nice things in it, but it was left to grow out. And over the couple of years I've looked after it, I've managed to get it actually looking quite presentable. One of the things I did was speak to the customer, and we got it mulched. So every year now I mulch it for free. It's not a big area. It's a trailer full of mulch for me is 30 quid, and for how much I get paid for doing it, I can absorb that cost once a year. But it makes my life easier because once a year it gets mulched, and it really helps to cut down on the weeds. It's a very, very sort of useful tool for me, and it actually looks really, really presentable. The shrubs have gone from low performing rose shrubs that had all gone woody. We did cut them back quite sharply, and actually they look really nice. They end up flowering for most of the season, and included within that, I deadhead it, and it's crazy, deadheading roses for a commercial customer. And if you look at the location it's in, if you drove up to it, you'd almost go, why are you fucking bothering, Sam? But you know, I bother because the budget's there for it. You know, the customer wants that. The customer, her office looks out onto it. She wants to look out to a nice, presentable, you know, site basically, and she's very proud of it. So, you know, you've got to, you know, sometimes your hands are tied with one thing, but then sometimes, you know, you've got the freedom to do it with the other. So, you know, I always try and give the option if I can, depending on the work. So anyway, I've rabbited on now for 5.5 minutes. How do I go about picking up commercial work in such a manner that it's easy and it's free? Simple. All this will do is eat a little bit of time and a little bit of diesel. Right, pick yourself some free time. So actually now it's 10 to 10. I've just been out for a meal, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to look around and see what work there is. You need a bit of visibility. There's no point doing this at the cold dead of night. You need to be able to see. When I went and drove round, it was daylight. Now it's coming to night time. And what we're on about, Sam? Are we going on, you know, a doggy? No, nothing like that at all. You're going to get yourself in a van, pick some free time, and then go to the industrial estates near to you. And this is really simple. And drive around, and what sites are basically, you will tell if they need a gardener. It's as simple as that. If it looks like the grass hasn't been done, it needs a gardener, write the name of this is really, really easy. Write their name down, or the business name. So, you know, I've got a pen and paper up here, and I've literally just went round and, oh, long lawn, write it down. Long lawn, write it down, you know. Shrubs overhanging, you know, write it down. And notice key things. So there's 2 sites I've noticed, and I can see down the back of them, and they're overgrown to fuck, so the fire exits are blocked. And, you know, this sounds super cheeky. Write it all down, write the names down of the businesses. If it's a shared plot and you want to get into that, so if, you know, the whole verge is a mess for a shared plot, what I tend to do is I write down the end one and the front one, and then it's a trial of error on who owns it, you know, because it will be somebody's responsibility. And it's as simple as, you know, in your head you want to sort of have a rough idea. So there's criteria. You can tell the properties that have never had a gardener, and there's probably a reason for that. It's simple. They don't want one. They don't want to maintain it. You know, there's a couple of sites I've been at, and you can tell that they don't want it. Basically, they don't need a gardener. And then, you know, so you know, if you ring them, it's, oh no, we're fine, whatever. You know the sort of sites I'm on about. And then the next one is sites that are big and massive and very overgrown. And again, I sort of look at sites like that and think, I can't do them. So I don't, you know, there's 2 sites I've drove past that are very long and very overgrown, and I can't do them. They're a ride-on job at least, or a couple of crew, you know, with 21. And then that way, if you're push mowing a site that big, you're not economical for them. And now, I'm not an expert on commercial work. Check out Scott from SE Landscaping, the goat of the commercial world. He will sort of, you know, watch some of his previous videos, and he'll, you know, put you right. Basically, he'll show you what you need to do. And, you know, sites like that, they're just too big. I couldn't quote on them. They're just too big. People, you know, you might say, well, make the leap, go for it. You know, it'll be a good way of, you know, like boostering your business or growing. It's, at this point, it's not on the thing. I'm after nice little easy sites that are, you know, a few, you know, hour here, couple of hours there, and I can do them on the weekend. Sites like that is full days, and I haven't got the time for it. So have a look, and then if you can, put some notes. So if you know, I don't know, SG will, SG Fencing Corporation, they need, gardener, and it's a grass verge that's overgrown and there's weeds everywhere. You ring up and say, oh, hi, is this, SG Fencing? Yes, I've just been up to the site and I've just noticed that your trees need doing. We haven't got any trees. Oh, well, I noticed your site. You just sound an idiot. So once you've got all this sort of in air quotes data, then the names. Well, soon you start need to finding out numbers. So again, ring round. It doesn't, Google them. You'll find it. Just put the name and the industrial estate, and you'll get them straight away. And then the fun begins. It's ringing them, and this sounds cheeky because you're approaching people for work. But remember, this commercial work could be very lucrative. So ring it up, and this is how I do it. So I'll ring up, say SG Fencing, and go, hi, my name's Sam. First thing I do is forget the fucking receptionist. Don't bother with her, because I found in the past receptionists look at it from a homeowner's point of view. You want to be speaking to the business manager, the site manager, even the company director, within obviously reason, the boss. And I'd be quite glad. I say, hi, can I speak to the boss, please? Yeah, can I tell him who's speaking? Yes, of course you can. Just tell him it's Sam from SGM-garden maintenance. Sometimes I might forget the name of a business and say SGM site maintenance. There's no harm in upselling yourself a little bit more. If you can do that job to your full extent, and you can do it, it doesn't harm. If you're pitching a bid for a site you can't do, and you'd have to get extra machinery, extra men in there, but you're hoping that customer will say yes to it, then you can, or you might be able to make do with your kit. They want, they know that they need a big firm or a big company to look after their site. They aren't idiots. So if you introduce yourself as, oh, it's SGM Garden Maintenance, I'm a gardener, they're going to be thinking, no, we need a team, we need a crew, whatever. So, hi, can I speak to the boss, please? Yes, can I tell you who's calling? Yeah, of course you can. My name's Sam. I run SGM site maintenance, SGM garden maintenance. We look after commercial buildings, and I was just having a quick recce, a little drive past last night. I noticed your site. It looks like it can need a tidy up. No offence, but I'm trying to sort of put food on the table here and be quite blunt about, be not blunt, be quite candid about it. Tell them that they might not notice, or they might do, and then they might think, hey, shit, this bloke's taking a proactive approach here. So yeah, oh, well, yeah, I've noticed it, sir, or oh, we've got it in hand. Okay, that's no problem. Well, what I'll do anyway, I'll drop you over an email if you don't mind, and then you've got my details in the future. And just treat it like that. It's as simple as that. Yes, it's cheeky. Yes, and I've had people where, they said, no, we're not interested, we're not bothered, we don't need anybody. Well, they clearly do, because, it looks a mess. But, and you'll drive past 6 months later, and it will still be a mess. Now, have I filled my diary doing this? No, I haven't, if I'm being honest with you. But it's looked after me, it really has. And it's a choice between an hour of fuel. I've done this a few times now, and I've picked up jobs which, every month look after me really well. And all it costs is an hour of my time, probably an hour or, 25 miles of diesel, because I'm not driving miles and miles to get to these sites. And then what I do as well is when I'm working and I'm, doing a bit of border work, whatever, I can just type my number in, click dial, and while I'm weeding a flower bed, I can have a conversation with it. So I'm not devoting evenings to this sort of pursuit, or taking time off. And yes, customers don't mind if I'm on my phone. I've got Bluetooth headsets. They probably already think I'm insane because I'm talking to myself all the time, but they don't mind. I'm in my own little world. So that's my approach to getting commercial work on the cheap or free. Just to sum it up, don't be afraid of asking. I've always been brought up, you don't ask, you don't get. It's simple as that. You don't need to be rude about it, you don't need to be pushy about it, and you know, just be honest. Just say, look, I gotta drive past, or I look, and you know, I tell them if I look after sites on their estate, I'll tell them, I'll say, yeah, I look after SG fencing. I don't know if you know a chap, but if you need a referral, just, you know, sure, if you drop him a call, he will, whatever. Or I look after sites on your estate, so I've got and this is the thing, tell them I've got availability, I've got time to get the work done, and then, you know, just go from there. It's as simple as that. Well, it's as simple as that, but whether it works, it's a very subjective term, isn't it? Because, you know, it might be simple, but it might be a case that, you know, works a bit harder to pick up, or it's easier to pick up. You just don't know. As I said, it's one of them. And like I said, some people have gardeners. The one that I picked up the other day, it was a quote, and this is what I'm saying about the receptionists. Sent an email in, and I rung them up about 2 weeks later. I said, have you a week late? Sorry, I sent the invoice, the quote over, and the receptionist, I rung her the next day. Have you received it? Yes. I passed it on. I never heard anything actually, and I went up to the site to look after near to it. I noticed the grass hadn't been done. I thought, oh, so I dropped him a call, and at this time I asked the boss, but the boss wasn't in. His secretary or something was in, or, you know, one of the underlings. And I said, oh, I'm just checking, have you found a garden? No, we're still looking. I said, oh, have you received my email? No, we haven't. I said, oh, I sent it to the receptionist. Oh no, we've had a new one now. Okay, could you send another one over? And I did. And we'll see if we can get that, but the brief on that is it's cut every 6 weeks. It's doable. The price that I put in, I'm happy with, but again, it's a small, you know, even if it's a trim down and mow down, that's fine with me, because of the money I've quoted it at. So we'll see. And as I said, you don't ask, you don't get. It's as brutally honest as that. Hopefully this helps, guys. As usual, have a good day, keep on gardening.